Hey guys, thank you for joining me for another video. Today we're going to talk about the importance of moods and the mood that you are in and how it affects your state of thinking and your relationships. And we are never in one emotional state for very long. Our natural state is to be happy, to be upbeat, to be positive. And when we're thinking about problems in our life, or we're thinking about relationship problems, or we're under a lot of stress at work with assignments and challenges, our mood can change pretty quickly. And most of us aren't aware of how our moods are changing and how important they are in dictating, our outlook on life. And often things that, seem overwhelming and high stress and frustrating and irritable, when we're in our low mood, those same experiences wouldn't necessarily bother us as much if we were in a better state of mind or a better mood. And so sometimes we compound our problems because we're trying to deal with them when we're in our lowest mood. And so I want to talk to you today about your mood and how it affects your overall emotional state, and how you need to be careful when you're in a low mood not to act and make too many decisions about life and important decisions about life when you're in a low mood. Learn to recognize that you're in that low mood. When you're in a high mood, when everything seems, when you're not thinking about problems, when you're in your normal state, let's say that's your normal state, when you're in a high mood or a lighthearted mood, everything seems fine. It seems like if you were given a problem, you could solve it. You don't have any frustration or tension in your life, and your outlook is good. It seems like every day is sunny. And when you're in your high mood, relationships seem to come easily and communication comes easily. But when you're in a low mood, everything gets compounded. Everything seems more serious and difficult. And often we're not even aware that our mood has changed. We just become pessimistic, we become frustrated, we become irritable, and we're not even really paying attention that our mood has dropped. When you're in a low mood, you take things personally, and you become resentful toward other people. And really there isn't a person that isn't pleasant to be around when they're in a positive mood. I mean, I guess some people could be annoying in their excitement and in their zeal. They could be a little overbearing, But most of us, when we're in a positive mood, we're easy to get along with. We are, thinking from our core wisdom. And in a low mood, that same person is going to look angry, frustrated, irritable, stubborn, and it's the same person, but we need to recognize that their mood has shifted. In those low moods, our ability to listen to each other is declined. Our perspective is lost, and we become less reasonable. And yet, what often happens is we tend to try to solve our problems when we're in that lower mood, in that lower state. That's when we get into relationship issues with our marriage. That's when we, start laying down laws and rules in our home for our kids. And what I want you to realize is that those same situations, if we were in a higher mood, maybe we would deal with them differently. That we tend to try to work through life's greatest problems when we're in our lowest moods. And those same problems wouldn't seem near as insurmountable if we were trying to address them when we are in a more positive state of mind. And so this can become dangerous because couples get into conflict and they're both of their moods drop, and then they start saying things that they would never think of saying when they were in a better state of mind. And what we do is we tend to think when you said that hurtful thing, when you were in that low state of mind, that is carved in stone, and that's what you really feel, and that's what you really mean. But the reality is when you get out of that mood, you don't really mean those hard things. You don't really mean those nasty things that were said. But the other person's now heard them, and they've been said out loud. And so now, the damage in a sense has been done. So we want to be careful to recognize when our mood is dropping, that or when our the person that we're working with, or our partner, or our child or parent, we want to learn to recognize not only our own mood and the significance of it, but also the moods of those around us. And make sure that our timing is right. If we have something important to discuss, that we don't try to discuss it with the other person when we're in a low mood or when they are in a low mood. If possible, we want to wait until we're both in a lighthearted, easygoing, natural mood, and then let's discuss the problem then. We're not talking about running away from problems. I think we need to be clear about that. We're not saying just try to avoid all your problems. Well, I'm in a bad mood, so I can't think about that. I'm in an upset mood, so I can't think about that. It's just recognizing that, when I'm in a lower state or in a lower mood, that when I recognize that, I don't try to tackle life's greatest problems then. If the problem or the situation that I'm facing really is a legitimate problem, then when I'm in a better state of mind, it'll still be there waiting for me to tackle it. And I'll be better equipped to tackle it when I'm in a more positive mood. I'll be better able to handle the situation without going into crisis mode. If it really is a problem when I'm in my low mood, then it will still be a problem. It'll still be on the inbox, when I'm in a better mood. And I'll be better able to handle it without, going into crisis mode or self-destruct or anxiety. I'll be able to better handle that problem and deal with it and have a better perspective and have natural wisdom to be able to deal with that problem when I'm in a better mood. So you might want to learn to kind of question your judgment when you're in a low state of mind. Learn that, when I'm feeling frustrated, upset, irritable, grumpy, and I'm in that low state of mind, then I might want to be suspicious of my own ability to solve my own problems. I might want to then think, maybe now isn't the best time to try to handle this, and become doubtful of my own ability and my judgment when I'm in that state. When I'm in a low mood, I need to learn to just realize that that's normal. That what I'm going through or what I'm feeling at that point is just a normal part of being a human. Our moods fluctuate depending on our circumstances, depending on how we feel physically, depending on what's going on in our life. If you've got, crisis going on, maybe you've got a sick person in your house, or you're under a lot of pressure at work, your mood is going to go up and down depending on all these circumstances. And just recognizing that as a normal part of being a human can give you a little bit more grace with yourself and a little bit more grace with others. And then really try not to give that low mood too much attention. If you sit and think about, all the things that you have to be upset about, it's going to further drag you down into and prolong that period, that irritable mood. So not to sit and think and dwell on too much that I'm in a bad mood. Just recognize it and then try not to give it any more attention, and then recognize that now may not be the best time for me to deal with my inbox or deal with the bigger life situations. You can't force yourself out of a low mood. But there's some things that you might be able to do to help yourself. One is to try to divert your thinking away. If you're thinking about, usually I think we get into these low moods because we're overthinking, potential problems in our life, or potential threats in our life, or, harsh things that people have said or done to us. And as more thought we give to those situations, the lower our mood is going to go, the more ineffective we're going to become. So what you can do, even though you can't force yourself out of a dark mood, is try to divert your thinking to other things. A great thing to do would be to pray. A great thing to do would be to think of all the things that you have to be grateful for, to look toward anything that would bring you contentment, to divert your thinking away by reading something, reading an article, watching a television show, or listening to music. Anything you can do to take your mind off of what's facing you here and now, to give yourself sort of a commercial break, to give yourself a sort of miniature vacation for a moment, and try to focus your attention away from the things that are bringing you down until your mood can soften, until your mood can rise because you're going to be twice as effective, 3 times as effective when you're in a higher state, when you're in a better mood than when you're in that lower mood. So you could divert your thinking away to other things. Maybe this is a good time for you to watch a couple YouTube videos, or listen to some music, or do a little online shopping or grocery shopping or something online, whatever, just to divert your thinking away to think about something else. That's something that you could do that's going to help you get out of that low mood. Really, I think the only thing that's really going to get you out of that mood is time. It's just going to take a little bit of time. And if you can understand that, then you can give yourself some time and know that no matter how dark or however frustrating life seems right now, that you may feel like you're in a pit, but you're not going to stay in that pit. You're going to climb out of it. Your mood level is wanting to return to normal, and normal is to have relative peace, joy, and contentment in your life. So you're going to get out of this darkness. You're going to get out of this mood. It's going to happen on its own, naturally. If you did nothing, if you didn't try to divert your thinking, if you didn't try to distract yourself, if you didn't try to go out and enjoy the sunshine and listen to the birds, over time your mood will eventually straighten itself out. If you did nothing, it would take a little bit of time, but as your thoughts begin to naturally divert away from whatever it is that's consuming you, and that will happen with time if nothing else, if no help was given, your thoughts are going to move away from whatever is bringing you down, and you will return back to your normal, lighter self. The simple act of acknowledging your state of mind and the state of mind that others around you are in can change the course of your relationship. If I can recognize that I'm in a low mood, then I'm going to be more, cautious about what I say. I'm going to be more careful, knowing that what I say right now is probably not, I'm probably going to say angry things. I'm going to say frustrating things to others because of my state of mind. If I recognize that my wife is in a low mood just by watching her body language, or recognize that one of my kids is in a low mood, just to let them get out of that, to give them space, and to not take what they say too seriously at this point, and recognize that it may not be them that's talking, it's the mood that's talking. And so don't try to hold them accountable for everything they say right now when it's really the mood that's driving them. And that gives you more grace and more compassion with each other, more allowance with each other, to just recognize, well, they're kind of in an upset mood. I'm not going to call attention to it. I'm not going to try to poke at them. I'm not going to try to irritate them and get them to laugh their way out of it. I might just offer a compassionate response and say, hey, I can see you look a little upset right now. Is there anything I can do for you? And when they say, no, I'm fine, then just back away and give them some space and recognize that they'll get out of this mood, and maybe they'll want to talk about it, and maybe they won't. Maybe it's something that I've done that they want to talk about, or maybe it's just something they're going through on their own that they just need to work through or think through or, get to the end of. But they will get to the end of it. If I zero in, at that point, when I see them in that low state and I say, no, tell me what's wrong with you. Why are you acting like this? This is so ridiculous. What am I going to do? I'm going to further compound that mood. They're not in a place right then where they want to talk about, the important, and even if they wanted to, it's not necessarily the most appropriate time for them to talk about, because all the problems in life get amplified when you're in a low mood, and everything seems insurmountable, and little pebble problems seem like boulders when you're in a low mood. And so why push on people when they're in that low state? Why irritate? Why dig at them? Why not just give them some space and offer some support, but then give them space and be patient with them until they come out of that low mood, because they will. All right, so what else do we want to say? When you begin to take notice of your own mood levels, suddenly the mood itself in your mind is what will become responsible for giving you that bleak outlook in life. In other words, let's say I'm upset at work, or I'm upset at, in my neighborhood or something with somebody. Right then at that point, when I'm in that dark mood, I feel like work is my problem, or my neighborhood is my problem. That's what I feel like. I feel like, Johnny is my problem. Sam is my problem. But really, my mood is my problem. Nobody can force my mood to go low. I'm low, and then I recognize that I'm low, and I realize that if I can be patient with myself when I get out of this mood, my neighbors won't seem like such a problem. My work won't seem like such a problem. When I'm in a higher state of mind, I will see the situation differently. So I need to be conscious of that and aware of that. Really one of the dangers is the more time we spend with someone, like your spouse in particular, the more time we spend with someone, the people that are closest to us, the more opportunity we have to see them when they're in their lower moods, to interact with them when they're in their lower moods, and to hear maybe hurtful things that have been said by them when they are in their lower moods, things that they wouldn't say or necessarily believe or hold true when they're in a higher mood. And so we have the habit sometimes of taking to heart what our spouse or what our children or what our parents have said when they're in those lower moods, when really we ought to just be able to learn to just brush that off and say it wasn't really them speaking, it was their mood speaking. They were upset, they were hurt, they were frustrated, they were angry. And so that's what anger sounds like. That's what frustration sounds like. And in a sense, we can let them off the hook, Not that people aren't responsible for what they say, but just I don't have to dwell on what you said, because when you're in a better state of mind and you're more rational and you're more in touch with your core and your wisdom, you're not really saying all those things anymore. So it was the bad mood that was speaking, and so I can let that grievance go. And by the way, remember the Bible says love keeps no record of wrongs. So I'm going to let that wrong go, and I hope that you would do the same for me when I say things that would be when I'm in a lower state of mind. So, like I said, leaving others alone will often be enough to just let them pull themselves out of that state of mind. The last thing that they want or need is someone questioning them or arguing them or debating with them. And it will probably just reinforce and deepen that negative mood and may even drag you down into a lower state as well as you interact with somebody. And, moods spread. They do. They just spread. You come in with a lot of joy and enthusiasm and heart and excitement, and you will spread that at your place of work or your church. If you come in down and gloomy and frustrated and hopeless and bitter, you'll spread that with people as well. And they may not even realize that it's happening, but it is happening. And so if I see that you're in a low state of mind or a low mood, I can offer some support and encouragement. But then in a sense, if you don't really want that help, then I kind of need to get away, because if I don't, you're going to bring me down as well. And then what chance do we have if all of us, are in a state of decline? So most people just need their space when they're in that low state of mind, because when they get out of it, they'll be a lot easier to be around. When you're in a low mood, you don't necessarily see things as they are. You see things in a distorted lens, but you won't notice that. You'll think you're really seeing things the way they are. And everything that you think and believe in that low state of mind, that people are out to get you, or people aren't being fair, or whatever it is, it's going to seem reasonable to you. It's going to seem like you're right. But when you're in your higher state of mind, when you're in a better mood, all of that stuff goes away. And if it doesn't, and it really is a problem, then now fix it when you're in your lower state of mind. Handle it. Make that phone call when you're in your better state of mind, when you're more at peace, if it really is a problem. The trick isn't just trying to see everything differently. When you're in your low state of mind, the trick is to recognize that you're in a bad mood. Recognize that you're in a low mood. And then give yourself a little bit of room, and give yourself a little bit of grace, and recognize that the mood itself is generating the negative thoughts. If a problem does exist, then you'll be better equipped to handle it when you get into a better mood. When our mood is low, it's like our wisdom is gone. and we start to be self-protective. We start to go on the attack and go on the defense and to try to solve our problems. And we're ready to confront people and we're ready to hash it out. And this is probably when we should least be ready to do this. We ought to try to work through our problems when we're in a better, more relaxed frame of mind. But we tend to want to resolve things and to confront people when we're in our lowest state of mind, when we're angry, frustrated, hurt, and upset, which is going to do what to the relationship? It's going to damage the relationship because we're in sort of a fighting stance. And when we're in that fighting stance, guess what we're going to do? We're going to fight. Rather than try to really work through a situation and come to an agreement and consensus, we're just fighting because we're angry, because we're hurt, because we're upset. And so, that's when we want to get to the bottom of something. And really, we probably ought to just leave it alone for a little while and, go away, take a walk, relax. I'm not saying avoid the problem. Just come back to it. Put it on the back burner and come back to it. If it really is a problem, it'll still be there when you're in a better state of mind. And you'll be better apt to be able to handle it. So be careful about trusting your feelings when you're in that low mood. Everything looks darker than it really is. Everything looks more overwhelming than it really is. And the less attention you give your thinking at that point, probably the better off you are. The quicker your mood will rise. And why is that important? Because when your mood rises, you are more productive. You are more successful. You can accomplish more. You're better at relating to others, and you're in touch with your wisdom to resolve your life's problems. So it's important that your mood elevates. It's important that you get out of this slump that you were in, or this pit that you were in, because life is overwhelming when you're in that pit. And you're not going to be very productive, useful, cooperative, all those things when you're in that lower mood. So when you're in the low mood, recognize it. Maybe you'll become more aware after watching this video. You'll become more aware and you'll go, oh, I know what this is. I'm in sort of a bad mood right now. So maybe I need to not try to solve all these problems right now. Maybe I need to divert my thinking into something else. Listen to some music, go for a walk, watch a television program, get out a Sudoku puzzle or something, read a comic book, anything. Just give myself a mental break. When your anxiety and your feelings are going up and you're starting to feel, afraid and overwhelmed, and that may be an indication, an alarm response for you to trigger you to go, whoa, my thoughts are becoming consumed over here, and so my feelings are getting jacked up, and so they're warning me that the stress level's going too high. And I want to become less stressed. I want to remove that stress. And I realize that for some of you, that stress and that anger provides you with a lot of energy. And you feel more successful and you feel like you get more done the more stressed out, the more anxious, and the more angry you are. But the question is to what expense to your own health? And to what expense to your relationships? I realize anger is a great energy. Anger can, really get you moving. Frustration can really get you to be productive. But yes, productive at maybe getting tasks done. But to what expense to the relationships of those around you, and to what expense to your own health and to your own, good sanity? So when you feel yourself getting that boiling over feeling, or that fearful feeling, or that, restless feeling, or whatever it is, think of it as a warning, as an indicator that my mood level is dropping. And as my mood level drops, so will my greater ability to tap into greater wisdom, and to be more reasonable, and to ultimately be more relatable and more productive and useful. So when you're in the low mood, recognize it's happening. Try to ignore it. Try to ignore all the bad thoughts that are getting you there. Divert your thinking away. Think of all the good things in life, what you have to be positive about, rather than trying to analyze and give too much attention to your low mood. If you just ignore it and move away from it, it'll work itself out on its own. It will quickly vanish. Low moods are a distortion to our thinking, and we accept them as a part of life. And as we learn to ignore the thoughts that are bringing about that low mood, we can return to a more healthy psychological state and become more productive and present to life. If you want to investigate this subject more, I would encourage you to pick up the book You Can Be Happy No Matter What by Richard Carlson. It's a fantastic study on moods, feelings, thinking, and how it all affects our overall sense of happiness, peace, joy, and contentment in life. Thank you guys for watching. I hope this video is encouraging to you, and I hope it's helpful to you on your journey. I'll see you guys next time.